We hear about huge global problems all the time: disaster relief, food security, poverty. But what do the solutions to those problems actually look like? Well, today we're going to look at two massive real-world blueprints designed to tackle these exact issues, and you'll be surprised by what they have in common.
First, just picture this. You've got this enormous white ship out on the open ocean. But it's not a cruise liner or some giant tanker. Nope. It's a fully loaded, state-of-the-art hospital sailing as a beacon of hope to some of the most remote and disaster-hit places on Earth.
Okay, now let's go from the sea to the land. From something you can see and touch, like a ship, to something a lot more abstract, a government document. This right here, this is the Philippines' national strategy to completely transform their farming and fishing industries for the next 6 years. And that brings us to the big question, the puzzle we're going to solve. On one side, you have a mobile hospital. On the other, a dense government master plan. What in the world is the connection between these two giant blueprints for humanity? Let's dive in. So first things first, we've got to look at their purpose. Why do these things even exist in the first place? And for both of them, the answer is pretty simple. It's all about serving the people who need it most. And when you lay it out like this, the parallels become really clear. The hospital ships, they respond to sudden, intense crises, wars, tsunamis, things that cut people off from healthcare. The agriculture plan? It's tackling those slow-burn, chronic crises, things like deep poverty, not having enough food, and the ever-present threat of climate change. So at their heart, they're both crisis response systems, just for different kinds of crises. And really, at the end of the day, it all comes down to people. The ships are sailing to help folks who are poor or who've been displaced. And that national food plan? It's for the farmers and fisherfolk who, ironically, are the ones feeding the country, but are also the ones who suffer from the highest rates of poverty. The big takeaway here is that both of these are, fundamentally, humanitarian missions. All right, let's build on that. Because it's one thing to have a mission, but how do you turn a big idea into something that actually works in the real world? Well, it's all about transformation. For the hospital ship, that transformation is, physical and pretty dramatic. Take the USNS Mercy. It didn't start its life as a hospital. It was an oil tanker. They literally took this massive ship, gutted it, painted it bright white with a red cross to signal it's a neutral medical vessel, and then filled it with operating rooms, patient wards, you name it. They turned a tool of commerce into a tool of pure compassion. Now, the agricultural plan's transformation is a bit more strategic. You're looking at how a whole national budget gets sliced up. A big chunk, about 30%, goes toward making food production more efficient. Another 30% goes to helping farmers become entrepreneurs. So money isn't just a number on a spreadsheet anymore. It's transformed into a targeted plan for feeding a nation. And hey, just so we're all on the same page, a hospital ship is exactly what it sounds like. It's a hospital that floats. It can do everything from minor checkups to major life-saving surgeries, all while being able to move wherever it's needed most.
Okay, so we've covered the why and the how, but to really get what we're talking about, we need to understand the sheer scale of these projects. I mean, the numbers we're about to see are just mind-boggling.
Let's start with just raw size. The USNS Mercy, the biggest hospital ship in the U.S. Navy, weighs 65,000 tons. I mean, to put that in perspective, that's heavier than a lot of battleships. It is a colossal vessel dedicated entirely to healing. And now for the financial scale. Check this out. The 6-year budget for the Philippine Agricultural Plan is over 160 billion pesos. That's nearly $3 billion US dollars. It's an incredible national investment aimed at changing the lives of millions. So let's go back to the Mercy for a second. What does 65,000 tons of ship actually get you? It gets you 1,000 patient beds. This one ship is basically a floating city of medical care. And the human scale of that agricultural plan? We're talking about 10.66 million people. That's how many people work in farming and fishing in the Philippines. This isn't just some abstract policy. It's a lifeline for about a quarter of the entire country's workforce. So how do you even begin to organize something that huge? Well, you need a framework, a roadmap. This diagram here shows how the plan connects a huge national vision for the year 2040 all the way down to concrete, day-to-day goals. It's the master plan for turning a dream of a better future into reality. And in the middle of all these big numbers and complex charts, you get a quote like this from a farmer leader named Roberto Balon. He's talking about the need to train the next generation. It's just this powerful reminder that this massive blueprint is really about securing a future for families and their communities.
Okay, let's wrap this up and bring it all together. We've seen a ship that heals and a plan that feeds. Sure, they look totally different and they operate in completely different worlds, but they share a deep common vision.
So what is that shared DNA we've been talking about? Well, first, they're both massive logistical challenges. Second, they both take existing resources, an oil tanker, a national budget, and transform them for a higher purpose. Third, they're both driven by that humanitarian mission to help those in need. And finally, and this is so important, they're not just about fixing today's problems. They're designed to build resilience for whatever crises come next.
And that's really the big takeaway here. This isn't just a story about a ship or a government plan. It's a look at what human ingenuity is capable of. And it leaves us with one powerful question to think about. How can we take these same principles, transformation, massive scale, and building resilience, and use them to solve the next big challenges that we're all going to face?